Representative Eugene DePasquale is serving his third term. This is a little early. Third term, he was just elected to in the State House of Representatives. Representative DePasquale has established himself as a leading reformer by being the first legislator to post his expenses online. Representative DePasquale also helped lead the fight for a stronger open records law and eliminating private car leases. In his first term, DePasquale saw his proposal to create a $650 million alternative energy fund pass into law with a large bipartisan majority. This act will reduce our dependence on foreign oil, promote cleaner sources of energy, and invigorate our manufacturing base. DePasquale helped secure the first significant change in the state education funding formula. The change, the first since 1991, directs more funding to growing areas. He also helped lead the way for more targeted education investments through early child education for at-risk youth and learning through new technology to help prepare students for the future. DePasquale also secured the largest funding increase for York's mass transit agency since its inception. The increase has allowed rapid transit to continue quality service, hold down fares, and move in a more environmentally friendly direction. DePasquale serves on the Appropriation, Consumer Affairs, Agriculture and Rural Affairs, Environmental Resources and Energy, and Urban Affairs Committees. He's chairman of the Urban Affairs Committee, Third Class City Subcommittee. A native Pittsburgher and lifelong Pennsylvanian, DePasquale has a Bachelor of Arts degree from the College of Worcester, where he played football and baseball. He also has a master's degree in public administration from the University of Pittsburgh and a Juris Document from Widener University School of Law. He also is graduate of Central Catholic High School, played for the first Quad A state football championships in state history. Prior to serving in the legislature, DePasquale served as Deputy Secretary for Community Revitalization and Local Government Support in the Department of Environmental Protection. Served as Economic Development Director for York City. He oversaw the department charged with improving the business climate and growing the job base for the city. Representative DePasquale and his wife Tracy have 2 children, Benjamin and Sarah. And something I will say on a personal note, when you get involved in issues like we have, you go immediately to see your representatives and you tell them what's going on. Unfortunately, the representative for my district was one of the ones who drafted the Right to Farm Law, the Act 38, which some of you in the room know we had a huge issue with, and we're now being sued by the Attorney General for trying to write a protective ordinance. I did go see Eugene also, who is not the representative of my district. I will say that Eugene picked up the ball on this, collected information from every single person who had problems with DEP and them coming out on various issues of sludge and factory farming, called them all in his own time. He has gone to bat for us, and he's someone that we can always go to, and his door is open, and he really cares. That's why he's here speaking. Yes, ma'am.
Can we clone Eugene?
Can we clone Eugene?
Yeah.
We've been cloning I'm not sure too many of me would be very helpful. Thank you, Maria, for the introduction. I want to thank you for helping put this together. It is a tremendous event, not only for, and I know what it's like to put together events, but also for the cause that you're working for. I greatly appreciate it. I know that not everyone here is from the York area. Multiple states are represented here, as well as people from our local community. I'm going to talk about a couple items that I think are important, and then I want to open it up for questions. For starters, just about everybody here is, just take one concept, say nutritional food, is into the concept and supports the concept of grown locally, supporting local farmers, making sure our kids get healthy food in schools, and that also is good for our economy and our environment. Now, everybody here believes that, at least at some level. And I think that's a mom, apple pie, and Chevrolet type of thing. I mean, really, I mean, who's against the idea of helping local farmers, developing healthy food that gets nutritional food to our kids and helps invigorate our economy? No, no. The point is, when you say it that way, it would poll at 90%.
Yeah.
Maybe 89, maybe 91, depending on margin of error. So why isn't it that? Anybody know?
Our state.
Well, it's not. It's money.
Yeah.
I mean, never underestimate the power of big money to put together a huge campaign, to run television ads, and that just all they look to do is give you a sliver of doubt into a position to stop progress from happening. And I joke around with this, but as Linda Small will tell you, this isn't really a joke. I mean, people laugh. I say this: that if you started at the Lancaster-York County border and drive west, I'd be the only Democratic House member for 162 miles. And this is not a sparsely populated area. So I get a little bit of practice in messaging. Any issue, and make my case. And there are people that will tell me, I'm voting for you, even though I disagree with you because you had the guts to come here and tell me what you thought. At the end of the day, I want to send someone to Harrisburg that has core convictions and is going to fight for it. And I think sometimes, and I think especially after the Obama election, in regards to where you were on that, I think a lot of people on the left went home for around 18 months. Thought, oh, big majority in the Senate. And I told, because Linda works for the Democratic Party, I had a town hall meeting about 3 months after on the state budget. There was not, now think about it, I had just come off a victory of over 50 points. And if you would have judged by the people in the room, you'd have thought I had just lost by a landslide. And that happens time and time and time again. I'm not just talking about me. I'm a big boy. I grew up in a neighborhood. I'm not. My point is we've got to go out and communicate to everybody. We have to make the case. And yes, one of the negatives we have here is that there are very few people that can just afford to buy $10 million worth of advertising and put it on broadcast news and just do it. That's just a reality we have to deal with. But everybody can talk to neighbors. I know when Sue ran for township supervisor, why did you pull that off? You talked to voters. You stood there and you talked to voters. And some of them were Democrats, some of them were Republicans, some of them were independent. I'm sure some were politically conservative and some were politically moderate and some were politically liberal. But you talked to every voter. And you won. It was actually not even very close. That is something that we need to think about here too. There are going to be people that actually agree with us, but they don't even know the fight is going on. Now, here's an example, and I'm going to just walk you through a recent discussion I had with someone that, and I don't want to mention names. Who are you to tell me what to eat? I said, sir, I'm not telling you what to eat. You want to go get McDonald's or Kentucky Fried Chicken or anything? I don't care. You want to put anchovies on your pizza? Look, I'm not an anchovy guy, but go ahead and do it. He goes, but you're telling me what to eat. I said, are you in school? And the guy was in his mid-40s. I said, are you in school? I didn't know you were still in elementary school. He goes, well, no, that's silly. He goes, and he went through what he did. I said, well, if you're not in school, this has no impact on you. He said, oh, but my kids are in school. I said, okay. I won't mention the school, but it was in the district. What school? Mention the school. I said, that's a public school, isn't it? I said, yes. So, and this is, my point is, you got to sometimes go at the issue. Walk them through it. If they still disagree, that's fine, but how I'm working the progression here is I said, so it's a public school. So the lunches that are provided with at least some impact from the taxpayers. Well, yeah, I guess that's right. No. I'm not asking if you guess it's right. Is it right? Well, that's true. I said, so shouldn't the taxpayers have some say in the menu that is provided at the public school? I said, well, yeah, it's one of these now seeing where I'm going here. Mm-hmm. And I said, look, if you want to give your kid to go to school their own lunch with McDonald's or whatever, this bill does not say you can't give them that. We're talking about food that is, at least in some level of assistance, provided by the taxpayers. And I said, I threw him a little curveball. I said, have you heard of the Children's Health Insurance Program? Pennsylvania was the landmark one, and a lot of states have copied our model on that. I said, yes. I said, do you think we should get rid of it? No. You do know childhood diabetes is a major problem? Yes. So the more junk we provide in the school, the more we're going to have increased healthcare costs of our kids later on, which means the more cost we're going to put on the Children's Health Insurance Program. Sometimes you get it. My point is, let's not just always think in our own little cocoon of we know it's right, so we're not going to make the case. And sometimes we can convince people. You can educate. You can convert. Never look down on someone that disagrees with you. Work to educate. Work to bring them along. Just because you're right doesn't mean everyone believes you're right at the start. And it does, thinking about it from his point of view. If you just saw the headlines, it would make you think that state government was going to tell you you couldn't eat pizza. And that would be somewhat silly. That wasn't what it was. It was about making sure that our kids in schools have healthier options. I have an 11-year-old and a daughter that's going to be 8 in March. So they're in and believe me, if you put a hamburger, pizza, or a piece of fruit there, I know what they're going to eat because they're kids. If you put soda or milk there, I know what they're going to pick. And what he said was, well, shouldn't it be up to the parents? I said, sir, I would be more than happy to leave it under the parents under one condition. Do we really think that the parents are going to be standing in the lunch line watching what their kids order every day for lunch? I mean, how many of you have kids? How many of you are there every day when they order lunch at school? But you work in the cafeteria? It's plugged into the wall, correct? The utility bill is paid for by the taxpayers. So we are subsidizing Pepsi-Cola or whatever, having that vending machine there. So I want a little bit of say on that too. Again, I'm not saying you got to take them all out. I want some juices in there. I want some water in there. And I want to give parents a little bit more assurance that their kids are going to have healthier options in the school. So I tell this story not to put down the person I talked to, because at the end of the day we ended up not even agreeing to disagree. I think they saw it from where we're coming from, and it wasn't the food police coming in, but just trying to provide healthier options. Now, the real win in this is, if we do this, the kids get healthier options. We all know that'll help develop their brains better, help develop their bodies better, and if you're healthier later in life, you can have a more productive life, a more successful life. That's undeniable. But sometimes seeing the victory 40 years down the road is rather challenging. But the immediate win is Southern York County farmers will get to supply the food. That's a huge win. And in these economic times, wouldn't we want our own American farmers to have the ability to make that money? I mean, it's our tax dollars. And so, I mean, I appreciate, the comment. I mean, but I'm going to leave you with this and then open up questions. We have enormous power in our own voting booth, our own email capabilities, our own blogging capabilities, our own door knocking capabilities to change what happens. But I think the one skill we need to develop is sometimes you got to argue it from a different point of view. And the impact on school taxes. You get local farmers supplying more affordable fresh fruit to our schools can be a win for our local taxpayers. It can help invigorate the economy, which helps create more jobs. But I'd be willing to bet that if you talk to just about every mother in Idaho, they would want their kids to be healthy, whether they be conservative, moderate, or liberal. We need to talk to everybody. We need to make the case. And if we don't, and our argument loses, we have no one to blame but ourselves. So thank you very much for coming.